Even after a crucial conversation, I have no control over somebody else's behaviors. I'm responsible for me. But I can tell you, in every crucial conversation that I've ever had, I walk away with more peace than I did when I walked in. And that, to me, that's the goal. I want every relationship to flourish. I want everybody. I am the guy. Can't we all just get along? And that's just not realistic. But we can all lean in to crucial conversations. Welcome back to Between Sundays. We are excited about today's topic. It's a vitally important conversation that we're about to have.
We're going to help people today.
Yeah, so many people struggle with the content of this message because it's uncomfortable.
For sure.
It is tough. It's something that so many people, they're never taught this. You always say they don't teach you this in Bible school.
Right.
They don't teach you this anywhere. What we're about to talk about today, you probably haven't heard, and it's probably one of the things that you struggle with the most, and that is crucial conversations that you just don't want to have. They're just not fun, but they're so necessary. And really, this starts out when we're kids. At a really young age, we believe a myth that undermines all of our relationships, and this is the myth that you have to choose between telling the truth or losing a friend. And that's simply not true. I would even say you can measure the health of a relationship or a team by measuring the number of indiscussables, or the things you just can't talk about, the taboo topics that you're not allowed to go there. But as leaders and as parents, we should be modeling crucial conversations. We should be modeling how we have these crucial conversations. So that's what we're talking about today. So Pastor, how do we get to where we are equipped to handle those very tough but very crucial conversations?
Yeah, admittedly, up front, I want to just get this out of the way, get the elephant out of the room. I don't pretend that I am the expert at this. I have failed in this more times than I care to admit. There are many times I wish I could have handled crucial conversations better. I just didn't have the tools, or I just didn't know. And even when I did know, I wish that I had more confidence in them. But this is huge. There are families, there are churches, there are businesses, there are lives that are just one crucial conversation away from being better, healthier, right? Vibrant. So I want to say that. Again, please hear my heart here. I don't think I'm the expert at this. I just realize it's part of what we do. And if you're going to have any meaningful life, you're going to have these conversations, whether it's with your spouse, your child, your coworker, your boss, your family member. These just do not go away. I remember there was a time when we had someone here at the church, and honestly, the bottom line is they had a prescription drug problem. Hidden, kind of, they were functioning, but it was affecting their life, affecting their ministry, affecting others, and had to sit down with them and honestly look at them and said, you know what, this is going to stop today. And I remember that day looking them in the eye, and I'm telling you could feel their nervousness just coming out of their body, their legs shaking, their eyes are just kind of drifting. And I said, today I'm going to take you to rehab. And I realized that as a leader, I had to step into that very tough moment, like didn't know what would happen, didn't know how it would be received. But because I care and because it's the right thing to do, I'm just stepping into that moment. There was a guy named Joseph Graney that wrote this book called Crucial Conversations, or The Art of Crucial Conversations. We learned about this at a leadership conference years and years ago, and honestly just began to let it digest and be a part of how I lead. And again, I pray that other leaders have leaned into it. Ironically, there was a conference I was at in California a couple years ago, and Joseph Graney was there teaching. And I was in this class, and I went to him afterwards, and I said, I just want to thank you for giving us this book, this Crucial Conversation book. And he looked at me, and he said, tell me more. Like, what are you doing with it? And it kind of caught me off guard. Like, I wasn't ready to explain, but just off the cuff, just said, you gave us language. You gave me words to use that helped me begin to articulate what I'm trying to do. So I just was grateful for that, because here's the law of a crucial conversation. At the heart of almost all chronic problems in our organizations, our teams, our relationships, lie crucial conversations that we are either not holding or not holding well. Okay. We either are not, I'm not touching that. I'm not going there. I'm not ready. I don't know what to say. We're not touching it. Or when we do, man, we just handle it all the wrong way. And it just makes the matters worse. Like, is it possible to have a very meaningful, crucial conversation and things get better? Like, is that even possible? Like, can families win? Marriages win? Businesses win? Is that possible? Well, Joseph Grain in his research tells you it is. But there's a way to do it. There's a place to do it. I learned this a long time ago, and I believe this, that the problem with a lot of churches, and can I say relationships, families, is that we're too nice. Meaning, we don't step into the ring and have that crucial conversation. Described one time like this by Bill Hybels. You walk into this conversation, and it's like 80% of it is going to be just information. Again, you're sharing some things, not hard to swallow, not hard to digest. It's just information. There's going to be about 15% of that conversation that's just downright hard. It's tough. It's going to sting a little bit. You may not like this, but I need to share this. 5% of that conversation, it's like getting a hand grenade and pulling the pin. Like, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how they're going to respond, but leaders pull the pin.
So, if I am a leader and or a husband, or I am a coworker and I am facing what looks like could be a crucial conversation, I know that when you're describing this, when you're talking about every person, some people right now, their insides are like, they're cringing, right? They can't even imagine. Like, there's so many things that we avoid because we don't want to have these conversations. And so if I feel like there's a crucial conversation on the horizon, how do I identify that? Like, how do I know, okay, this is about to be a crucial conversation? Like, what are the ingredients of a crucial conversation?
Yeah, I think the easy answer is, what's keeping you up at night? Right? Like, what do you know right now? Like, okay, what are you avoiding? Right? That's
the
easy way.
Me?
No. Yeah. Tell me what conversation you're avoiding.
We have to stop recording.
Exactly. Okay. But you intuitively know, I need to have that conversation. I don't even have to describe it, but they do give some descriptions here. And I think there's 3 ingredients. One is that there's high stakes. Like, there's going to be something that results of this. It could be firing. It could be demotion. It could be in trouble. I mean, there's high stakes, right? The marriage could end. The kid can run away. There's high stakes. To make it even more crucial is that really there's opposing opinions. Like, people are passionate. They have different views. We're not eye to eye in this. We do not see this the same way. You go into it knowing, man, there's lines drawn, right? And then, even to make it put gas on the fire, it's like there's strong emotions.
Ooh, yeah.
Like I care. Like, this matters. Like, I'm not giving that up. There's no way, we put our own expressions to that, but there's strong emotions. Those 3 things, high stakes, opposing opinions, strong emotions, really are the ingredients of a crucial conversation.
Yeah, that sounds terrifying.
Right. Let's stop now.
Yeah. Like, all right. So, okay, those are the ingredients. So let's talk about, let's paint a picture, okay. Right? Let's paint a picture for our listeners. Some examples. Let's give them some examples of what a crucial conversation is. So, you give us an example?
Well, I'd love to hear from you too. Okay, because
I have some rolling in my head right now.
So I'll give 1 or 2, but I'd love to hear some thoughts, because I think as leaders we all get into these conversations. But let me just go through my mind here, like talking to a friend about behaviors that threaten the relationship. Like, there's some behaviors in that friendship that's really dinging that relationship. Like, how do you tell that individual, hey, you're doing this, and man, I feel so uncomfortable. And it's awkward to talk about.
Yeah. What about this one?
Okay.
All right. So what about when there's someone on your team or someone in your church and you're a leader and there's sin in their life and you know you got to have that conversation? Yeah. That is a crucial conversation.
Yeah, for sure. You're raising teenagers and there's rebellion. Yeah. Like, and they're threatening to run away. They're threatening to kill themselves. I mean, it can get serious, like sideways, and people have suffered. And so, we get afraid. We don't lean into that. So really challenging or having that conversation with a teenager could be certainly one crucial conversation.
What about asking a friend to repay a loan? Like some people listening right now, they've probably loaned money to somebody.
Yeah.
And it's it's caused funkiness between them, and they need to ask them to repay the loan, but they don't. Because it's a crucial conversation, and they don't know how to have it.
Like I'm never going to lend them money, but I'm never going to talk to them about money either, right?
That's exactly right.
I think one of them, honestly, is like, what if you're on the job and your boss is a bad boss? Like, what if your boss has...
Not mine.
No, of course not. Yours, you're blessed. But what if you were on the job, right, and your boss just has behaved, and they're not inviting critique. They're not asking you for 360 feedback, right? But listen, do you have that conversation? Right? That's people don't quit companies; they quit people. Right? Okay.
Right.
Any others? Do you have any others?
Yeah. How about when there's someone on your team that's underperforming? You've given them a job. There's a task. There's an assignment, and they're not doing their job. They're underperforming. That's a tough conversation. That can be a crucial conversation.
Yeah, and especially in our environment, church volunteers. How do you tell a volunteer, listen, this matters, this is important, and you need to do better? Yeah, those are just really, really hard conversations to have.
And people listening right now, you're probably thinking of your own scenarios or conversations that you need to have. And so let's talk about how we typically, like our typical way to handle crucial conversations. What are some ways that we handle them?
I think the typical way is we avoid them.
You don't do it.
I'm not having that conversation. I don't have the tools. I'm not emotionally ready.
Yeah.
They could wound me in this. And so I think most of us, we just don't have
So
them.
option one is you just don't have
Don't have it. Okay. I think two is that, you have them, you face them, but you do terrible at them. You don't handle them well. It goes sideways. Like you make matters worse. And I think that's one reason people may not do it is because they don't want to make it worse. Like it's bad enough. Why do I complicate it? Right. So they just don't handle them well.
And number two is what leads back to number one, because once they've been handled poorly or the outcome, you're probably going to avoid them.
I've tried that. I went that path, tried to do the right thing, and it blew up in my face. Right.
But there's another option here, right? Okay. Which is why we're even having this. So what is that third option?
Yeah, this is the best option, is that we can face them and handle them well. Like we do well. The relationship is better. The problem is fixed, or it's on the path to healing. That's an option too, that, we don't ever really realize. But there's a lot of great people that have very confrontational conversations, but it's done in a way and handled in a way and conducted in a way that actually builds the relationship. I think some of this, honestly, are things that we fight, like, for instance, your natural feeling. Like when you're about to go into this, your heart races, you feel the stress, like the temperature rises.
Absolutely.
Right? I feel like some people's body language right now is just changing. Like I know exactly.
Blood pressure is through the roof right now.
It's like, man, you get nervous, you stay up at night. Our own natural response works against us in this. Think about it. You don't have training for this. How do you handle your emotions? How do you not yell? That's your default. Like, how do you not start blaming or being defensive? Like, these are your natural responses. I think a couple other things is most of these, or not most, but a lot of them, you just get caught off guard. Like you're saying hi, and the next thing you know, it's shifted. Now you're in a crucial conversation. Yeah. Like there's a lot of times I didn't know I was in a crucial conversation, but I found out pretty quick I was in a conversation, right? So sometimes we're just caught off guard. It's not like, hey, at 2:00 we're going to talk about this.
Hey, I'm going to pull the pin at 2:00 today.
Yeah, it just you're in the kitchen with your spouse, and all of a sudden, boom, it's there, right? Yeah. You're walking down the office, and man, your boss comes out and you're right in the middle of it. So really, honestly, we get caught off guard. But I think another thing is we just don't feel we have the skills.
Yeah.
Like we do not feel, we're not educated. There's not a class. Nobody tells us, you're not taught this. No one does this in our life, that we're just thrown in the fire and hopefully the good ones survive, right? But I feel like if we had skills, we'd probably do a lot better.
I'll never forget a long time ago, many years ago, I feel like I always share stories of why I need this podcast. I joked earlier with someone before we started recording, and I said, the listeners, they think that this is for them, but this is my one-on-one coaching with Pastor Zuniga. But I have I have stories for days. But I have an example of how this was so important in my own life. I remember a time many years ago that I was just having some struggles, and this concept of crucial conversations, it's not taught, right? I never heard of this. And actually the other is taught and modeled, which is you just avoid it, you let it go. Or, some people, their personality is, I'm non-confrontational. I would say I'm a very non-confrontational person. And that can be to our detriment over time if we are avoiding conflict or confrontation, but it's bubbling up inside of us and it's causing unhealthy emotions and feelings. And I had, as a non-confrontational person, I had begun to swallow things and, just let it roll off my back, or it's not a big deal, or ignoring it, only to allow things to start to take root in my spirit. And I'll never forget, I came to you and I said, look, something's not right. I'm frustrated. And you literally said the words that we're going to have a pull the pin conversation here. It wasn't after the first time I brought it to you. It was after probably about the fourth time I brought it, and you realized, okay, this is not healthy. And I'll never forget the night that the pull the pin conversation was scheduled. I had gotten home from work and I was sitting at my table. I could literally go there in my mind right now. I was sitting at my kitchen table, and I was telling Lauren, my wife, about having to go to this meeting. And I remember, probably never told you this, so please forgive me. I pounded my fist on the table in anger. Why do I have to be the one to have this why do I have to do? You're talking about the emotion.
Yeah.
I was so terrified of the crucial conversation because number one, I did not know what was going to come from it. Number two, I had no skills to have the crucial conversation. I was never taught that. And now on the other side of it, there's a whole different appreciation. I went into that conversation. It was uncomfortable. I'm talking the sweat on your brow, the tremor in all of that.
The nervousness.
Your heart, like you could feel my heartbeat in the room because you're so nervous. But on the other side of that, there was more clarity. There was more peace. You got things off of your chest. And so crucial conversations are hard, but I can testify that there's benefits. There's a benefit to having that crucial conversation. So let's talk through some of that, because people need to know it's on the other side of that. It's worth having the crucial conversation. So what are some benefits?
Yeah, some that just come to my mind is like those that can walk in those situations and handle them well, they're just going to do better in their life, like career. Like if you're a person on the job, I know I serve on a mission board, and we had this issue with a missionary. And man, our top leaders have talked with them, and they were just not lining up. Great missionaries, just not doing some of the things they are committed to do. And so we're about pulling their job. We're like getting them off the mission field. They're not lining up. And so in the last ditch effort, there was like a 10 o'clock p.m. meeting, and they said, Brother Zuniga, can you go and have this conversation? There was me and another missionary on the board, but I was driving the conversation. And so I get in this meeting, and again, I just start laying it out there, Tim, in a very kind way. Like, I care about you. I mean, your success is our success. We're here to help you. But here's the issue. And I'm saying, like, this is a 911 call. If you don't hear me, you're not going back on the field. His wife's crying. I mean, and again, we work through it. We find a path forward. And I promise you, several months later, we were at a conference, and this missionary finds me out and says, Brother Zuniga, I just want to tell you something. I want to thank you for just having that conversation and handling it in the way you did. There's so many benefits of being able to do this. I think in organizations improve. I think I hope out of this podcast, there's better conversations with team members and our staff and our family. I think our relationships with our lives, our spouses, our children, our coworkers. But here's a secret that I think really we don't really understand, but when I say it, you'll know to be true. Actually, when we do these well, it improves our health. Wow. How much our health is under assault by the stress, by the anxiety, by the worry, by the pain of these conversations we're not having. And it's not like it goes away. We internalize it. It starts to affect. We start having sleepless nights, and we start losing, stressing. And it's just the health benefit alone is worth getting better at these crucial conversations.
That's so good. All right. So what are our, we know the benefit. What are our options when approaching this?
Yeah. And I'm going to give some steps, but let me clean this up just a little bit more. I think there really are two options here. We either act these out or we talk them out. Okay. Acting them out would be something like you avoid them. You go around that individual. You're never in the same room with that individual. You're always trying to make sure that they're okay. And you're not in that space. Like, we act it out. It doesn't go away. We act it out. We don't answer the call. We don't make sure we're not at the same whatever, because we're acting it out. The other option is you can talk it out. Okay. And because when you talk it out, it becomes really a path to healing and an intimacy or a strength of that relationship. It becomes a pathway to that, or it becomes a pit. And really, again, you have to trust the process, trust your intentions, trust that what you're doing is the right thing. But here's where I think this is if you take any blurb from this, you need to get this part, because this is the secret. This right here, you can keep in mind, and it works all the time. But in the first 30 seconds, if you want this conversation to go well, if you have any hope that there's going to be resolution, you need to do this in the first 30 seconds. Research says if you do this in the first 30 seconds, 97% of these conversations go well. And these are the two things that you do within the first 30 seconds. And that is that you demonstrate mutual purpose, meaning we have a common goal. I want you to know I care about what you care about, okay? Whether that's on the job, whether that's a ministry, whether that's a relationship, I care about this marriage. I want you to know that. I care about our home. I care about, whatever that is. I care about this project we're working on. I care about this ministry I am in. When you demonstrate the first 30 seconds, if you want there to be success, you need to have a mutual common purpose. I care about this. You care about that. That's what we're in agreement on. The second thing, within the first 30 seconds, if you want this to have a chance of being successful, is that you got to show mutual respect, meaning I care about you as a person. This is not personal. I want you to know I value you. I care about you. You matter to me. Those two things are the secrets. If you have any chance of these kind of hard, tough conversations to have success.
So it's about winning that first 30 seconds of the conversation with mutual purpose and mutual respect, because the person on the other side, even if they know there's funkiness, even if they know, at least they know the foundation is right. Where the foundation of this conversation is right. So oftentimes I think that motive is what comes into question in crucial conversations, right? Yeah. If there's already a lack of trust, if there's already issues, if there's already funkiness, and so if what you're saying is in that first 30 seconds, you got to tear down whatever walls, whatever the things that are going to cause this to potentially go the wrong direction, or to be built, this conversation to be built on the wrong foundation. And that's mutual purpose, that we're unified on the purpose. And it's mutual respect, that I care about you. I care about you. I care about who you are as a person. I care about whatever's going on. I care about you. Okay, so I'm ready to have the conversation. I'm ready to have a crucial conversation. I've seen the benefits. I've understood some of the ways to set this up for success. What would you say are some critical skills that our listeners need? You know what? I already told you this is really for me. So forget the listeners. What would you say are the critical skills that I need to have a crucial conversation?
And again, these are not mine. These come from the book of Joseph Graney, Crucial Conversations. But again, these are proven. They've tried these. They've worked them. They've done data research, social research. They've done all kinds of different things to prod to see what works. Okay, so this is proven stuff. So number one, you start with the heart, meaning, why are you doing this conversation? Like, are you trying to make a point? Are you doing it because you're angry? Like, start with the heart, okay? Because here's where you got to get to. I'm trying to make something healthy, not trying to win. I want my heart to be pure. Like something doesn't have to die for me to feel like I won. Okay. I'm going to start with my heart. I want to make sure I know why I'm having this conversation. I want to know why I'm doing what I'm doing. Start with the heart. Number 2 is I got to master the story. Like sometimes we walk into these things or think we knowing all the facts or all the details. We need to master our stories and be honest about that and say, you know what, this is what I'm telling myself. This is what I'm thinking. It may not be all true, but I'm going to let facts. So I'm not going to throw accusatory statements like you always or you never. It's like I'm seeking to understand. Okay, here's the problem, but I'm letting my story kind of unpackage the information, unpack the truth. So start with heart. Master the story. Number 3 is learn to look, meaning I'm looking to make sure the conversation is safe. I want to make sure we're not moving into our own separate lines are not being drawn, right? We're dividing. Are we leaning in? Or I'm looking. This is where you step out of the conversation while you're having and you begin to make sure, if you feel like it's coming off the rails or you feel like it's getting where it used to be, this is where you go back to those 2 things, mutual purpose and mutual respect. Like, I want to remind you, we have the same goal. I want to see that better and that I care about you. There are often times in these, you need to reiterate the common purpose and the common goal, but you're always looking to make sure the conversation is safe and making sure the conversation is making progress. That's where the 4th step comes in, is you're making it safe. Like my language, my body language, my energy, the way my expressions, everything I'm bringing to this is safe. Am I emotionally safe? Am I raising my voice? Am I making sure that I'm doing this well? I want to make sure this is safe, okay? You have to take responsibility for you. You can't control what others are doing, but you can control you. And so this is where it's so important that you make it safe. Number 5 is really you're stating your path. This is what I think will help, or this is what I feel like are some solutions or some things that will make the situation better. Granted, you don't know all, and there's other opinions, and we get into our next point here that invites those opinions, but at least you're giving some direction. You're giving some insight. You're giving some clarity of how the problem can be better or how we can fix this. And it's the right words. Like, if you will listen to me, that's wrong. Like, you're going to get people's defenses up. They armor up with the inflammatory words, right? And so you state the path and you make sure that it's a path of safety. The 6th part is explore other paths, meaning, you know what, I'm going to listen. I want to listen. I don't want to do all the talking. I need to be in mode of listening and invite other solutions. This is where I've learned, even in studying like FBI, people that do some research and negotiations with people that have kidnapped or people that are have people held hostage negotiations. They never ask why questions, like, why are you doing this, right? They always ask what and how questions, like, what can we do to alleviate this? How do you feel? What you're doing when you ask what and how questions is you're inviting that other person to bring a solution, to bring an answer. So when I'm looking to, really explore other paths, I'm asking what and how questions. Like, what do you think could work? What do you see as a workable solution? How do you see us moving forward? How does that work for you? When you invite other people's opinions, there may be something that you agree on. Maybe not everything. But I'm telling you, when you invite them into the solution, there's a better chance that there's a workable solution moving forward. The last step is move to action, meaning, what do we agree upon? What can you and I agree on if it's one thing, what can you and I agree upon to move this problem, move this relationship, move this situation forward? Again, I think these are steps that are proven steps. I think once you get into practice, once you try them, you get more comfortable. I will admit, the first time is awkward, funky, and you wonder if it works. But the problem is, no one teaches us this. And we all have conversations that we're either not holding well or not holding at all. And I think for our lives to be better, for our dreams, for our potential to grow, this is crucial for us to get better and get it right.
Yeah, and we're not naive enough to believe that one podcast episode solves every person's struggles with crucial conversations, right? I mean, this is something I believe First of all, I don't know anybody who's walks into a crucial conversation with excitement in their heart, right? Like that's not the motive here. That's not the problem we're trying to solve. There should be, I believe there should always be that weight of what you're about to walk into. So the purpose of this podcast is not to ease all of the tension around a crucial conversation, right? It's crucial for a reason, right? It's weighty for a reason. And so what the goal of this episode is to equip people to be able to walk in and understand the value. It doesn't make it easy. In all of the crucial conversations that I've ever been a part of, I cannot tell you one that was easy. I cannot tell you one that I walked out of and thought, man, I can't wait for the next one.
Right.
That's not the goal.
No, it's not. That's right.
But neither should it be that it's so difficult that I can't even imagine getting into the room to do it. And what we're trying to communicate through this episode is that it's hard, it's tough, but on the other side, if you'll work at it, that what you get from it is so much better than if you avoid it.
On the other side of that, when you have done the hard work and you went through the painful decision to enter that conversation and walk out of it, how many times you felt better, right? Like, oh, I'm so grateful. I feel a weight lifted off.
Yes,
you feel the tension because you did that and you try to do that the best of your ability. I can tell you, no one that I know loves people enjoys these. No true leader looks forward to the next bout, right? Nobody wants to do this twice a week. Everyone hates this. But those that care deeply about their organization, their relationship, realize you can't avoid these either.
And last thing before we wrap up, unless you have more to add, of course, I would say setting realistic expectations. Whatever your goal is going into crucial conversations, obviously we would all love for everybody to be able to slap high five and walk out. And whether it's relationship tension or coworkers that aren't doing their job, whatever it is, you would like to think that conversation is the fix-all. And there's a chance that might not be the fix-all. But what it does for you to be able to go into that room and be able to lean into that conversation is what we're trying to communicate, that there's a freedom and that there's a peace. I cannot control what anybody does. Even after a crucial conversation, I have no control over somebody else's behaviors. I'm responsible for me. But I can tell you, in every crucial conversation that I've ever had, I walk away with more peace than I did when I walked in. And that, to me, that's the goal. I want every relationship to flourish. I want everybody. I am the guy. Can't we all just get along? And that's just not realistic. But we can all lean in to crucial conversations. And so, actionable. What we wanted these to be actionable. What is our challenge to the listeners today?
So this is huge. Okay, this is the big one right here. Is when you say, "Okay, I get that." So the challenge is, what conversation do you need to have?
Yeah.
Okay. Identify that and then set a date to have that. Like, okay, I'm not going to just keep someday. I'm not going to keep, I'll wait for the right opportunity. Lean into that. Have that conversation. And I pray that you would use some of this, what you've learned out of this podcast, to make it better for you.
It's awesome. We wish you guys the best on that challenge. And I promise you, I can't wait to hear. Somebody's going to come up to us. I'm telling you, somebody's going to come up and say, I had that conversation and you guys were right. My mind is so much more free than it was before. All right. The last thing, and then we're done. The verse. Who we got today?
Yeah, we have so many great volunteers, and we're champions of our volunteers. We're blessed with great volunteers. But there's a lot of people that are behind the scene people. They don't get a lot of show, FaceTime, whatever. But I want to give a shout out to a great part of our tech team, none other than Mac Alkin. Okay, woo, Mac Alkin.
Let's
okay,
go.
Runs the camera, right, and he helps in a lot of different ways. And you know what? He's quite an actor as well.
Plays the drums.
Right.
Great drummer.
The guy is uber talented.
Yeah.
And we're just so blessed to have Mac Alkin on our team.
Yes,
and Mac Alkin's favorite verse, 1 Samuel 12:24. And it says, "But be sure to fear the Lord and faithfully serve him. Think of all the wonderful things he has done for you." Mac, thank you so much for what you do.
We love you, Mac.
Yep.
Hey, thank you guys for listening to today's episode. We hope it blessed you. We hope it helped you. And we're in your corner. We're cheering for you. Get after those crucial conversations. We'll catch you next time on Between Sundays.